Nancy Cartwright, welcome to the American Glutton Podcast.
Ah, thanks. So glad to be here, Ethan. Just fantastic.
Good to
I
talk to
love it.
you.
I'm a fan. I am such a fan. I've been listening to, man, some of these guests that you've had on and everyone's viewpoints about their bodies and how they're doing and where they came from and how they've changed. And some of them are still, it's constant challenge.
Yeah.
And welcome to planet Earth, you know?
Welcome to the human experience, right?
Yeah.
So the most fascinating thing for me is I always, I went through my life with this perspective of like, certainly at the time, nobody understands what I'm going through. And now I could look around and go like many more people than when I was a kid understand, because I think that obesity has become more prevalent. But I am always fascinated when I talk to somebody who I don't project that onto, who goes like, yeah, I've been dealing with it and here's the solution I found. And I'm like, wait a minute, what do you mean? Why
Yeah.
is your life? I've known you for a long time, and I never would have thought you had to put any effort into your weight or physicality or anything like that. You always seem to me to be a vibrant, very healthy person.
Oh, well, thanks. I'm glad I come across that way. It's all
Yeah.
smoke and mirrors. No,
Right.
no, no, I think it's, well, gosh, I don't even know what to say from that. I've always been health conscious, I have to say, and I've been somewhat athletic, although kind of maybe mediocre in my attempts. I was a gymnast when I was in high school. For 3 years I did that. And I was mediocre really in terms of the competitions. I did the trampoline, I did tumbling, floor exercise, and vaulting. So there was some strength there. I didn't do the uneven parallel bars. I didn't do the balance beam. I was a little too afraid of that. And the coach, for whatever reason, I that wasn't my strength area. And I did okay. I think part of it too was just I've always been, even as a child, very could do back bends and very flexible with my body. And even, gosh, going back to third grade, thinking that I was a favorite of the gym teacher because I could do stuff like that, and I was so little. I think that's part of it. There was my petite size. I'm only 5 foot now, but back then, man, I was a peanut. And that always interested me. So here I get on the gymnastics team. They call me Cartwheel, understandably, as a nickname. I was the captain my senior year. That was kind of fun. But after I graduated from high school, I don't think I did anything really particularly athletic. Well, no, that's not true. I did, and I considered this a workout. Danced.
Yeah,
Disco.
sure.
Disco was the thing, and doing the whole lottie da and Disco Fever, the Bee Gees, and all that. And I had a dance partner, had a huge crush on him that never amounted to anything much other than we were pretty good with that, and we would win some competitions at the local pub.
Nice.
That was fun. That was fun. But after high school, I'm realizing this right now. I stopped being as athletic as I was in high school, and I started to put on a little weight, and I got kind of chunkified. And I also made the biggest mistake. This is taking some of your older listeners back to a time when Dorothy Hamill, you might remember her name from, she was a skater, an ice skater, and beautiful. And she became famous not only because she was a good skater, but she had the wedge haircut. And
Right.
so remember when she did that one move? She's got one of her feet, she's touching her head all the way like a back bend on one foot, and her hair fanned up. And from the top, it was just like, wow, became all about this haircut. So I'm thinking, I want to get my hair cut like a wedge. So this was like so insane. I didn't know where to go. I wasn't going to get my hair cut. It was long. I had long, beautiful hair. And I went to, why did I do this? A barber. I said, just cut it like Dorothy Hamill. You know Dorothy Hamill? He's like, no. I said, she's the one, the skater. I had to convince him. Wrong, wrong, big mistake. And the hair looked horrible. And so I go into my freshman year in college and I'm fat and I'm over and I've got a horrible haircut. And I felt so ugmo. I felt so ugly. But it was okay though because I killed it in college. I killed it with my voice and speech. They didn't care what I looked like. It's how funny are you, or how dramatic, or how good of an actress are you. And I continued to do really well, and the hair and the body didn't matter. And so I just proceeded from there. But I was kind of chunky, and I mean, I could go on and on with I could tell you tons more.
Well, when did you decide like, okay, I'm going to get rid of this chunk?
Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to think the first time. I did numerous kinds of diets over the years, like many people do. I remember doing I'd already moved to California by then, and I was working in the entertainment industry. And I'm trying to think. I think I was actually I wasn't doing The Simpsons yet. This was in the early 80s. This was like I was doing My Little Pony, Glow Friends, Snorks, Pound Puppies, Richie Rich. But I also, I had gone to UCLA and I dropped out of school for 1 quarter to do a play, and it was quite controversial for the time. Today, it would be awesome if they ever brought this play back.
What was the play?
It was called The Transgressor, and it was written by a grad student at UCLA. And I was playing, it's not unusual. I mean, going to university, you play any age. You play a 7-year-old or you could play a 70-year-old. It doesn't matter. So we had 20-year-olds playing like they were 65, and here I'm cast as a 12-year-old prepubescent girl. And the play was about a family set in the Midwest who had 3 kids. And the oldest son had gone off, had left home. The middle son was coming back. It's at Christmas time. The middle son is coming back to introduce his fiance to the family. So that's a big deal. And then me, I'm a girl, that hasn't had my period yet, basically. And that's kind of significant in the play. So it's set at Christmas time, and the end of the first act, there's a knock on the door, and everybody suspects it's the oldest brother coming back. The door is open, and a woman is standing there, and she says, "Hi, I'm Alice." And so Kevin has gone off.
And become Alice.
Yeah, and has had a sex change operation. And the rest of the play gives me shivers thinking about it, but it's like the rest of the play was about how not only the family addresses this sensitive subject, topic, situation, person, but also how the neighbors and friends, because there were other people cast in it. So we had done it at UCLA, and the director decided, who was an MFA grad, he decided that he wanted to, I'm trying to think, there were only 3 of us out of the original cast that he asked us, would you recreate your part? Because I want to take it out and do it in a play, in a theater in Hollywood. Wow. But you're going to have to drop out of school for 1 quarter. So, Ethan, I didn't tell anybody. This university still thought I was going to school. I don't know how I got away with this, but somehow I thought, this sounds cool. I totally want to do this. So that's what I did. And we got a lot of attention. Lots of reviewers came. And then one night, an agent came, and they came backstage afterwards and said, "We'd love to represent you." I'm like, okay, we want to do a meeting. Will you come to a meeting with us? And I said, yeah. So I set up the meeting, and now listen, I had no intention of being on camera. I had no intention of being an actress. I had done it in high school, which was fine, great. Everybody's like, you're going to be an actress, right? I'm like, well, I think I'm going to do the voice thing. I want to do and I had this, here's a little indication of how much I've changed over the years. It's like I had this viewpoint that it wasn't pretty enough. Where did that come from? That kind of like, why would I have a viewpoint about myself? But I did, and I felt I couldn't make a living because I wasn't pretty enough, which is, oh my gosh, that is so far the opposite. A character actor has a career of working ahead
Yeah.
of him or her. And as someone that it's based more on looks, I think far more challenging than,
And to be honest with you, a shorter lifespan they tend to.
yeah, can be, but more opportunities now. And if it's cultivated right and using social media and just continuing to be in your fans, eyes and stuff and corresponding, I think it's better. I think it's better. It can be a trap, but it is better. Well, here I am talking to
No,
you.
yes, no, I'm saying if the career is based on good looks,
Yeah,
that seems to be like a short, like, was the looks are gonna go, and then if you don't have like real good acting chops to fall back on, there's
yeah,
no
it's
there's no more
true.
career.
I agree with you. You got to back it up with talent,
Yeah.
skill. So what's the point? So that was the play, and it ended up getting me an agent. And next thing you know, I went in for just a general meeting, and I got the lead in a pilot, a TV
Yeah.
pilot, a series that didn't go anywhere. I look at it now and I go, no wonder it didn't go anywhere. It was like it was not good.
Right.
But I got Twilight Zone the movie out of that, and I did. Flesh and Blood. I got to work with Rutger Hauer and Paul Verhoeven and go to Spain. Jennifer Jason Leigh played opposite me. That was an interesting experience, working in Spain. And that was harsh. That
Yeah.
was really harsh. Um, yeah.
Did you
And then,
find I don't know often if it's Los Angeles or specifically the entertainment industry, that even if there isn't external pressure, because I always experienced tons of internal pressure, but I
yeah,
mean
yeah.
like like other people going like, you need to change. There was always a new diet. There was always
Yeah.
some new thing that people would be like, hey, have you heard of this?
Yeah.
Even if it's like just a kind of overt hint, like
Yeah,
was
so true. Like the pineapple diet, the Beverly Hills diet, I did, oh gosh, what was the name of it? Shoot, I forget the name of it. It was one where you get stuff in a box and you add fresh fruit to it. It's a subscription kind of a thing.
yeah,
Uh,
they send you the box and you can eat and
Nutrisystem.
yeah,
Yeah, Nutrisystem. I did it. I had success. Hey, you have success with all these diets, but the question is, are they sustainable? Are you
right.
going to want it? You can eat from a box and take this packaged food that's got chemicals and it's not great stuff, but yes, you do add fresh food to it, but how do you learn? How do you take that and then make it a lifestyle? And I think that's the challenge. HCG, I did the HCG diet
And that's
later.
like super low calorie, right? Like
Oh,
500 calories a day or something.
of course you're going to lose weight. You're starving your body to death, and the body's like, I mean, I definitely have my viewpoints about all these diets, but it was only within the last, well, couple years, it's really that I took this time of this COVID shutdown and gosh, actually it was probably a year after that. It's only been a little bit more than a year, maybe a year and a quarter ago. I made a couple decisions that I wanted to take full responsibility for my body. And my career is going along great. Everything's moving along, doing more production than I've ever done before. Unbelievable at my age that I am creating really, really fun content with a production company now.
Yeah.
But my body, I still, after having two kids, um, it's like I don't feel comfortable sitting. I don't feel comfortable driving in my car. It's like I'm 5 foot and there's got to be a smaller person living inside this this thing here.
Right.
So for me, what I did was I just thought it's got to be, and here's the deal, you have to find your own thing. I can give you my successful action, might not work for you. And
Yeah.
but for me, and I came up with an arbitrary number, but I just put myself on a low cal diet. And at 1,500 calories, that's enough calories for somebody to lose weight because clearly I was eating more than 1,500. for a height and size of me.
Yeah.
That at 1500, and I didn't ask any questions. I didn't Google it. I just said, you know, I think 1500 sounds right. And don't ask me where I got it. It was just kind of like my own understanding. So I put myself on a program and that was it. And I really was religious with it. I stuck to it. Everything had to be weighed, everything had to be counted for. And I think I've only gone over like maybe one time, and it was only like 50 calories over. But I still, to this day, I still do it because it keeps like checks and balances in for me.
Do you find that you still have to weigh and measure as much, or are you able to like eyeball 4
Yeah,
ounces of chicken and
totally. I can eyeball it. It's about the size of my palm, no
yeah,
fingers or thumb included. It's about like that. And yeah, and I do it. And here's the other thing that I do, Ethan, as a successful action, and I'm telling you, it works because I started, and I only weigh myself once a week because I want to monitor. I got to keep, again, balancing checks on this. So I weigh myself every Tuesday morning between like 6 and 8 a.m. And I'll get a little tiny bit graphic here. It's after I've had a bowel movement. It's like and I'm naked. Whoa, TMI, but it's like that's how I do it. And it's like standing there on the scale, and it doesn't really matter what scale you use as long as you use the same scale. You
right.
can't go away on a week, 2 week vacation and use their scale because it's not calibrated the same as yours. So I use my scale, the same one all the time. So speaking of which, when I do go on a vacation or even take off to go be with friends for a weekend, I don't have as much attention on what I'm eating. I'm not.
Yeah.
I will have French fries. I will have a little. I'll have dessert. I won't have a whole piece, but I'll just kind of keep it. What's the word? I just put a little more control on it.
Yeah, moderation.
Yeah, in moderation, totally. But I don't want to not enjoy myself. And then on Tuesday, I'll weigh myself, and as expected, I'll be up.
Right.
Since April, I have noticed, because I went back just a couple days ago and I was looking at it, and I looked at my weights and I stabilized at where I am right now back in April, which was that was probably April, May, June. That was probably about 10 months of doing this calorie counting. It took me about 10 months, and I lost 17 pounds in that time. And my body regulated. I'm like 125, 127 right now. And I made a decision, if I ever get above 130, it's like, whoa, what are you doing?
Right.
What you're off the charts right now. That's not okay. But it's never gotten there. I will gain a couple pounds and I'll go right back to drinking the amount of water that I drink. I drink about 64 ounces of water a day,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty religious about that too. I drink a lot of fluids and the calorie counting, and then when you add exercise on top of that, it's like, and if I go up, I just go, okay, back to the program, and the next time I weigh myself, it's gone down, and it goes up a little bit, goes down a little bit, goes up a little bit, and it's kind of like you know normal. It's kind of a normal
It's like
condition.
an equilibrium.
Yeah, that's right. And you're never going to stay the same weight. That's ridiculous to think. Nothing stays the same. It's either getting better or getting worse, but you got to know like how to tweak it just right so that this is happy and I'm happy.
Yeah. When you got to the weight you wanted, when you got to the point where you were like, okay, this is cool. Now I
Yeah.
know what to do if this number goes up, or if I'm feeling like yucky or whatever. Did
Yeah.
you increase your food at all, or did you?
No.
No.
No, I keep doing 1500, and I've noticed that it's like I kind of thought that I wanted to get down to like 120. I thought, let's do 120. But what happened in April is that I wasn't really losing any more weight. It kind of stuck around 125, 127. And I continued to just do the normal thing of the 1500 with all the exercise and all that. And it's like my body said, this is it. This is
Right.
for your size, for your height and bone structure. I think, and also muscle. I'm strong. I've got I don't have the same muscle content that I had when I was on the gymnastics team. I weighed 119 and I was heavy. I was heavy at 119, but I was
So
at
crazy.
18 years old. And the other girls were like 100 pounds. My friend was 105 pounds. I'm like, oh man, I'm fat. And Ethan, I was not fat. I had
Yeah.
more muscle mass. And I did not understand that. So now with more education and there's such an abundance of information on the internet that you can find. I mean, obviously you've got to kind of and weed through and find out what makes sense, who's
Y-
saying it,
Yeah.
what are they an opinion leader in this area? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah. And I think with a lot of that, I go into any of these things and I go like anytime somebody is pushing a diet and they're making statements that all people need to do something in a certain way,
Yeah,
i'm
yeah,
i'm often like, okay, I got to get rid of that, right? I've got to cut through that noise. That's there's
yeah,
some bullshit there, right? Because different bodies are going to react differently to different things, and some bodies burn glucose at a lower intensity rate than others, right? So you could have a
yeah.
guy burning fat at a really high rate before his body kicks in and requires glucose. Like these are just, there isn't like a one size fits all thing, but and most of the big fad diets are making these kind of empirical claims
Yeah.
about everybody, being allergic to cucumber skin. And, I get that there's some toxins in cucumber skin, but like, if you're not having like severe autoimmune reactions to it,
Yeah.
this is probably not going to handle your life by just removing it from your diet.
No, it's a brilliant comment. I couldn't agree more. It's like we're all individuals. Our bodies are all so different, even within your own family. I have a sister who was taller but slender, and if it matters, she was probably an A-type blood. Me, short and a little bit stockier, gymnast kind of a body. And I'm O negative, if that has anything. That was another diet, the blood type diet.
Yeah. And
I
look,
don't
I
need
mean,
either, apparently.
yeah, I've done all of them. I did blood type, I did Beverly Hills, I did South Beach. There was a period
Yeah.
where they were all named after some place. I did the Wichita Falls diet, like all of these things. And I just go like, okay, I I bought into blood type because my whole life with my whole physical situation was going to be handled if I just ate these foods. But guess what? I can overeat all of that stuff too. I can
Totally.
overeat meat and
Yeah.
sweet potatoes like it's nobody's business.
Yeah. Sweet potatoes. Oh, don't get me started. I learned how to. I went away for a while, and while I was gone living in this condo, it's like I was introduced to the hot air fryer.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love it, man.
Yeah.
Come over, I'll make you a hot air fryer dinner. It's like I became an expert at cooking things like asparagus and sweet potato fries. You could cook anything. You could do an egg. You can make a perfect soft-boiled egg, 11 minutes, 350 degrees, with a hot air fryer, but you got to have an ice thing sitting right next to it so it stops the cooking.
Yeah.
You learn all these hints, and I've shared this with the people like, oh my gosh, I want you to make me dinner. That would be
Yeah. Do you think that a big part of it, or was it helpful to you? I don't know how much eating out you did prior to this, but I imagine trying to stick to 1,500 calories a day, like for real, not super easy if you're eating out.
No, and it's not super easy if you're eating at home.
Right.
It's a lot of work, and I think that's the same for any diet. I think it takes a lot of attention. You have to plan out, and the more you can do that and take the time, and if you're married, it's a thing that you can do as a couple, and you create this game together and go grocery shopping, and if you can make it fun, then you'll be able to stick to it. But if it becomes a drudgery and it becomes work, I can see how it'd be very easy to like make one big mistake over a weekend or at a wedding or a bachelor party or whatever it is. Then all of a sudden, you know,
Yeah.
you're off the wagon, and it's got to be doable. So that sustainability thing is the key. But I don't anything worth getting. I think it takes work to get it. There's nothing easy,
Right.
right?
Did you find that when you started to really look at the kind of energy density to the food that you were consuming and then eating it, that you started to make choices and found yourself going like, well, you know, a cup of rice has 200 calories and here's how I feel after I eat it. But the sweet potato fries have, you know, you can actually eat more sweet potato fries than you can rice by volume or weight.
Yeah, I
You know
like
what I
that.
mean? Right.
Yeah.
And so did you find those choices wound up informing how you stuck to it?
Yeah, a little bit, sure. Because if they offer sweet potato fries, I will do that. To do regular Idaho potato fries is like I'm going, I want to be smart. I still am smart about it.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing it all out the window and just like exploding, but I do allow myself to have I don't really eat some stuff that I used to eat. I don't eat anymore. Ice cream because I don't like the way I bloat like instantly. I'm so lactose intolerant, and it's uncomfortable, Ethan. It's like I don't like feeling that way, but it's taken me 3/4 of my life to recognize I don't have to do that. You
Right.
know?
Yeah, it's so weird because I even found like a diet ice cream that's got 400 calories per pint versus like a normal pint of ice cream has 1600 on average. And even that,
Yeah.
when I eat it, I feel kind of crappy. And so I have a freezer chock full of this stuff because I eat it very rarely because I go like, do I want to give into this need for pleasure and take whatever crappy feeling comes with and occasionally I go, yeah, I want that and I
Yeah.
don't mind that crappy feeling, but it is so seldom now.
Yeah, there was a book that I read. Um, this must have been easily, golly, 30 years ago, maybe, yeah, 30 years, I think. Mm. It's called The Sugar Blues. And it was a little paperback book that I got. And I read that thing. I could not put that down cover to cover in one sitting. And I was so interested. It was the history of sugar and how it's like what it does to your body physically. And I'm like, wow. And that actually really helped me.
Yeah.
It kind of just gave me the truth on what happens when your body takes in something like that. And to this day, and popcorn, I always considered popcorn a vegetable because it is corn.
Corn.
I'm
Yeah,
just
sure.
saying, it is a vegetable. Are
Yeah.
you people
Popcorn
confused
and
or what?
French fries. It's a salad.
So, popcorn is a weakness of mine. I found this one popcorn brand called Lesser Evil, and it's got Himalayan salt. I don't know whoever discovered pink Himalayan salt. I don't really care, but it does stay salty. I'm not into a sweet popcorn at all. But it's 90 calories for a bag, and I'm going, damn, there's my go-to treat. I love
Yeah.
that, and then I love a thing called Snacklins. I know I'm like promoting these products, but it's like
Good.
that's also 90 calories per a bag, and they're crunchy. They're like, and it gives you that satisfaction of being able to bite into something. And I like the
What are the snacklins?
Snacklins are made out of mushroom, yucca, and onion.
Wow.
It's an awesome bag that's a pretty good size, and it's quite satisfying. So I don't do it every single day because I've found a number of these kind of like go-to snacks. And some people do have this belief, and I don't diss them for this. They can have that belief. For me, it doesn't hurt. When I still add it up on my calories for the day, and
Wait, what's the belief that they have?
they have the belief that if you do snacks, it's like you should never snack. You
Oh
should
yeah.
just do little 4 meals throughout the day, no snacks.
I
Or
disagree. Again, I think you gotta go individual.
yeah, you do. You got to find
Snacking works
out.
for you. Why would you not snack? Because
Yeah, do
some
that.
random person said you shouldn't snack? That's stupid.
I didn't want to tell her that, but yeah, I said, no, I get it. I get it. But for me, it works. And so, heck yeah, I'm going to do it because
Yeah.
it's very satisfying. The other thing that I did in addition to the food, and I, I'm pretty sure this would be the same for everyone, and you'll have to smack me down if you disagree with me.
Okay.
You gotta have some kind of exercise, people. Diet alone ain't gonna do it. Your muscles, they'll become flaccid. You wanna strengthen your muscles. I think muscle, although it weighs more than fat, it also burns calories more than I think when you're working out.
Well,
Um,
yeah, just having muscle. I think fat in and of itself, the way that fat increases your energy need is just because your muscles are working by carrying it. The fat
yeah,
itself
yeah,
requires no fuel, but muscle requires fuel. Even if I agree. I think that it might be the computation different people use to come to this conclusion may be very different, right? One guy might go like, I want muscle because it's a net healthier body in the long run, or one guy
right,
might go, I want more muscle because I'll get to eat more food because my body will require more food. So it's hard
right,
to, and then there is certainly a point where you go like, maybe that's too much muscle, because there are some very overly muscled people
yeah.
where it's like I could totally see somebody going like, I don't need that much muscle.
Right, and that's like a personal, it's very subjective. But the other thing is, look, check this out.
Nice, the gun show. Yeah,
Maybe
that's
those are
good
guns. I got some
definition.
nice
That's
guns.
awesome.
Now I'm not. Now I'm not there. You can see I'm doing it. But
Yeah, but
here's
even
what.
when you're not flexing, there's real definition in that bicep. That is awesome.
I did a little kettlebell right before I got on. No, I'm kidding.
That's awesome.
But it
Yeah.
just looks pretty. I think it's on men and women. Just having that muscle tonus, it just you look better in clothes than if you don't have any. If you're not strengthened that way.
Yeah, I agree, and it is scientifically shown to be healthier to have
Yeah,
the more
yeah.
muscle, up to a point. You could go look at these like gigantic bodybuilders who are 300 plus pounds of pure muscle, and you go like, at that point you're probably putting too much stress on your heart, for if you're talking strictly about health.
Right. Yeah, absolutely right. I know your history is like extensive. The whole bicycle thing and your commitment to that and how many miles you did a day and just the support you got even from your family.
Oh
So
yeah.
that I just was so impressed when I was listening to you. And the cycling at a gym, the stationary cycling bike, I tried it, and I've heard that if you keep doing it, your bottom will get used to it. And I just was I don't know, a little executive princess in that way, that it wasn't my thing. Riding the bike wasn't the thing. I tried golfing, the walking, that would have been okay. I had a boyfriend at the time, and we did that for a little bit. And my drive down the center drive, I had a pretty, not strong enough to get me to the hole. But once we broke up, that was the end of that game.
Right.
So, not too long ago, this was April of 2020. My neighbor, who's a good friend of mine, um, played pickleball, and she kept telling me, "You got to play pickleball." What is it? I'd never heard of it. Well, apparently, it's the fastest growing sport in America, and like so many people are playing it. It was developed like in 1965. These friends created it off the coast of Washington State, and it's just been growing ever since. So I played a little tennis. You could play tennis, ping pong, badminton if you've got that good hand-eye coordination thing, and I picked it up just like that. So now I am like Oh, I love pickleball because it's fantastic exercise, but it's just better than that. It's fun.
Right.
It's way better than just like doing crunches and doing like fire hydrants and doing aerobics standing, to YouTube. Although I definitely continue to do YouTube exercises. I think you get on that one. I think it's called PS. I don't know. It's personal. It's a site
Yeah,
called.
I know what you're talking about. Where you do, it's like you follow along to a video, right?
Yeah, and there's so many teachers, and it's all free. And I want to work on abs today. I want to work on glutes. I want to work on upper arms. I want to do it. So I kind of balance between that and pickleball. And one more thing for the whole package is Pilates.
Nice.
My body has, I swear I grew an inch. I swear I'm taller. It's
Oh,
like,
it does a lot of stretching you, right?
yeah. And my body just loves it. And again, you got to find out. Maybe you're more of a yoga person. I wasn't yoga. They're vastly different.
Yeah.
But Pilates, damn, I'm like, whoa, what are we doing today?
Brandy took me to a Pilates class, and I will say it was after I'd gone to the gym and done a really, really intense leg day. And she was like, don't overdo it because we have Pilates. And I was like, oh, Pilates, that's a chick thing. That's not a big deal. I'm
Yeah,
gonna go. So, and then I went to Pilates and they hurt me. They
yeah,
kicked my ass.
yeah. The equipment, this guy that created this, I just hats off. He's long gone. Is in the 1800s. I think he developed this whole thing, and it's been passed along with all of his original drawings and the mechanics of it. The equipment it's mind blowing how you can take one piece and it does a gazillion things. It
And
just
it's
blows me
super low
away.
impact.
Yes, yes, for sure. And geez, the coach that I have, she's amazing because she personalizes it for me and for my body. And I just some days I'll come in there and say I had gone away for the weekend and played pickleball and I'm super sore, and I did some good damage to my body, and she says to me, I can tell by the way you're walking. Let's just do some stretching today. And she'll take rollers, and I'm telling you that it's not a day off for me. It
Yeah.
still hurts. It's like she's rolling on my thigh or my I don't quite know the names of the side of my thigh. And when
Your
it first,
T-band probably.
yeah, the T band, the all these areas of your body that will hold on to tension and stuff. And with a few minutes of doing this, it releases all that, and it enables me then to be able to carry on without any more pain. It's just I find it just really beneficial for me.
Yeah, and all of this stuff that you're talking about is stuff that you really enjoy, or you seem to at least
Oh
enjoy doing.
yeah,
Like even the Pilates, you seem to enjoy doing that.
yeah.
And like I think it's hard to convince people to do things that they're absolutely sure they're going to hate. I think there are things that I thought I would hate, and then I did them and I wound up really enjoying them. But I do think it's important to find some way of moving that you enjoy doing, because
Well,
forced movement sucks.
yeah, I think that's the key. I think you nailed it because this is my program, and it may not work for you, but even if it's a sport, I think it's just because it's fun. It can become really fun. If it's just exercise for the sake of exercise, for me that's I don't know. It's not so fun. It's like way too much attention. There's got to be some entertainment. And pickleball, I can play singles. I love singles. It's way more exercise doing singles. That kicks my ass, and I'm
That's
sweaty.
singles at pickleball.
Yeah,
Okay.
singles. It's a small court, but you got to still get from side to side. It's tough and it's challenging, and it keeps me running my body instead of my body running me. It's like
Yeah.
putting me running my body around. Doubles is super fun too, but it's different because you've got a partner there. I don't know that it's not necessarily easier though to play. It's just different. You have to kind of read your partner's mind. Are you staying up? Am I staying back? If we both back, then we both miss the ball that just goes over the net? How are we going to do it? And you have to kind of have a real coordination thing with your partner there. And I like that too. They're both workouts, but for a good aerobic workout, I like the singles. And
Yeah.
I've got enough friends that I can invite over because I went ahead and I liked it so much, put a court in my yard. I had chickens there at one time. Way too much valuable real estate for chickens. It's like, oh, come on, lady girls. You're going to go to the back of the property over there, smaller space, put a pretty pickleball court in and use it. And it's like right there for me to use.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think that we have kind of, or we are evolving into being more and more sedentary, and this is, I think this is a
Mhm,
major
mhm.
contributing factor to obesity. Just we don't.
Absolutely.
I mean, we don't need to move really to live life. We don't need to really do a whole much of anything with our bodies, compared
That's
to what we used to, hunter gatherer, looking for shelter, all that kind of stuff. We had,
yeah.
our body was out in the world, and now we've got, DoorDash and Uber and our phones. So
Absolutely. It is something to really take a look at individually for your listeners. Um, how much it's convenient. It's really convenient to have that all done for you, but at what expense?
yeah. Yeah, and then just the desire to store fat because our bodies feel safe, I think, when they're storing fat. It's like a savings account of energy, you know?
Yeah, and that's why I think for me again, when I found out what worked for me, that when I'm pretty strict during the week, or say the next trip I'm going to do is going to be mid-August. Up until then, I'm going to be just doing what I normally do, and no deviations, or no deviations. So then when I go away for that weekend, you know, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I'll come back, and it's kind of like you don't want to get your body into a position of like feeling like, oh my God, you've changed, and um, what's going on? And I think when somebody does kind of a yo-yo type thing, it's because the body it's kind of freaking out in a way. It's like wanting to hold on to, for just to give you an example, if you don't drink enough water, your body is going to hold on to water. We have to have water. And if you're not replacing the water that you sweat, and don't we sweat something like a cup of water a day?
Yeah, even if we're not moving, but,
Living.
even if it's chilly, we're sweating a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's right. It's constantly recycling. And if you're not replacing that water that you're getting rid of, the body's going to hold on to it. And for me, I realized, wow, that's why I'm so inflamed. I've got inflammation going on here. So when I started drinking more water, yes, I was peeing more for sure, like a lot, but it's like when I would measure myself or weigh it was clear that my body really loved that I was drinking water. It wasn't thinking it was, starving, or like I was becoming super dehydrated.
Yeah. Yeah. This is amazing. So you're killing it right now, and you are happy enough that you can foresee yourself doing this for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I may end up at some point in time saying, "Wow, I think I better focus a little more on doubles rather than, playing singles." I'm not there yet. I'm
Yeah.
in my seventh decade of life, well
Wow.
into it, which doesn't mean, for any math like flunkies out there, that doesn't mean I'm in my 70s. I'm just
Right.
telling you. It's like
We're in the 21st century. It's only the year
yeah.
2000. Yes.
Yeah, and I look better. I feel like I see pictures of myself when I was in my 20s and in my 30s, and I had my kids when I was in my 30s, and it was going on. I was packing their lunches and eating it while I was packing it, and eating the same food that I made for my kids. That's a reality. Mothers go through that. And even fathers during mother's pregnancy, they're gaining just as much weight as their wife is gaining because they're eating the same food because she's cooking it or he's cooking it for her. And, it's just, I guess it really is when you put what you put your attention on, you're gonna be able to solve that problem. And if you
Yeah.
don't have a lot of attention on what you're eating, just grab anything because it's convenient,
Yeah, I think, and this is very general, but this was my experience so many times. But I think I always wanted a one word solution or the easiest solution I could imagine. And for me, I had this bizarre computation in my head that weight loss alone was the solution, and that
Mhm.
once I achieved weight loss, I would be handled. And this was just not the case because it kind of neglected how I gained weight in the first place.
Yeah.
And without really addressing all of that and going, oh, I kind of need to take my life apart and like undo all this stuff that got me to the point that I needed to change. And that's actually a lot more work than just losing weight. Losing weight, I've lost weight on every diet you've mentioned today.
Yeah.
Every single one, I lost weight. None of them solved the problem I was trying to solve. Weight loss alone wasn't that
Yeah.
solution. It
Yeah.
was really a reorganization of my life.
I so get that. That makes so much sense. Some people eat, it's a comfort sort of a thing. It makes them feel good. They have some sort of a loss in their life, and and so they go to the refrigerator. They take themselves out, and when they're hungry, they go shopping when they're hungry, and that's a ridiculous time to go shopping. It's not going to solve, like what you said, the underlying thing that you're trying, that there's a situation there that you're not really looking at.
Yeah, there's also a lot of in the diet world data that's either grossly negligent or partially true. So like did you ever do keto or Atkins?
Yeah, I did. And they Atkins didn't work for me. And I think there's a disclaimer that says 2% of the people that do this, it won't work for. Hello, I guess that
Yeah.
was me. I was pouring it on, man. I love steak and putting butter on it and as much fat. Oh, man, it did not work for me. I was so bummed.
Well, and here's the other kind of point is like if you remove all carbohydrates from your diet, you should lose weight simply because you'll get rid of a lot of water, right? So
Yeah.
that nobody goes into a diet. I mean, most people, I'm sure somebody goes like, I just give me a water pill, I'll pee a lot, and then that's the weight I want to lose. But most of us are going into a diet thinking I want to lose fat.
Hmm.
And it is possible on Atkins to gain fat and lose weight on the scale because you're just getting rid of a bunch of water. And
Mm.
so there's you know this idea where you can eat 10,000 calories or 10,000 calories a day in bacon or T-bone steaks and lose weight. It's like, yeah, maybe the first week because you're pissing out a bunch of
Right.
glycogen, but that's not a long-term solution for anyone.
True that, but man, don't say bacon. Bacon goes good with everything.
Listen, I
I
love
love
bacon.
bacon.
Yeah. I do one high fat day a week, which because for the most part, and I don't eat high carbohydrates, but like I eat moderate carbohydrates and kind of lower fat. And on my day when I don't go to the gym, I increase my fat. It's by far my favorite day of the week. I get avocados and olive oil, and like that's really fun for me. I prefer that. I wish I could just eat high fat and not have to worry about anything else. But the reality is I still would have to count calories. I still would have to do that math and make sure that my energy balance was correct.
Yep, I get it. I so get it. And full disclosure on my end, when you're talking about a cheat day, because I weigh myself on Tuesdays, Tuesday morning, like right after I weigh myself, tends to be the time where I will have like one of the things I also love to eat, it's pretty low cal actually. It's about 190 calories a cup, but it's yogurt and it's fruit. And it's I think it's Greek yogurt and with like monk fruit to sweeten it up. It's not that many calories, but I don't have it every single night as a dessert because it's so rich.
Yeah.
I will have it, or somebody will give me like here's another cheat that I will have. I will go to my pantry, and it's called, I forget the brand. I think it's BS, but it's a vanilla flavored almond butter, and it's really high in calories. It's like 190 calories for 2 tablespoons.
Yeah.
And I'll go in there and scoop up like 1 tablespoon or a heaping teaspoon. And oh man, it's like pleasure. It's like taking at Christmas when you get presents and you get, people tend to give you chocolate whatevers. It's like if it just had a little chocolate added to it, it's like such a spoiler treat. But I don't disregard it. I add it, but that's the day that I will say I don't. I'm temperate about it, but
Yeah.
I account for it.
I was at a hotel in the Midwest, and there was nothing really great for me to eat in the hotel, and I was walking around and looking for stuff, and there was nothing really anywhere near me. And I stumbled into a Starbucks, and I was like, oh, I see fruit and eggs in a package, and I bought all of them. I bought 10 of
Yeah.
these packages of fruit and eggs, and then I got back to my room and I opened them up, and I found a little thing of almond butter in with the fruit and eggs. And I'm very much like, that's a fat. I'm on a carb day. I'm not eating the almond butter. And towards the end of the night, I was like doing the math, and I was like, oh, I still have like 500 calories left. And I opened one of these almond butter packs. It didn't
Yeah.
have vanilla in it, but I hadn't had anything like that in a while. And boy, was it good. What a treat. Just a tablespoon of almond butter.
I know these little things that we like. Oh my God, it's so good. But it's a nice treat. It's a diversion. It's a treat, but temperate.
Yeah.
Account for it, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
Amazing. Nancy, thank you so much. This has been a really fun conversation.
oh, it's such pleasure. Nice seeing you too. I know this is an audio kind of a thing, but such a pleasure, Ethan. I just adore you. Love watching what you're doing. The changes that have happened with you. You're such an opinion leader in this area. It's admirable. You're
Thank you.
setting such a great example. I'm telling you. It gives people this podcast that you have can give people a whole new lease on life, listening to your viewpoints and others' viewpoints about how to take care of your body.
Yeah, and more than anything, for people who have had a lot of failures, because I've
Yeah,
had a lot of failures, I just want to spread the message that like it can be done, you know?
beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, such a pleasure to be a part of that.
All right.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me, buddy.
Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.